Thank you so much. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Reverend Cassandra Rae, Spiritual Director of the Center for Spiritual Living in White Rock. And we're an inclusive spiritual community located in White Rock. White Walk? Okay, let me say that more clearly, in White Rock, South Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. And we envision a world that naturally expresses love. So we practice and teach tools for transformation, authentic self-expression, and conscious living. And wherever you are on your path, whether you're soaring or struggling, there is a place for you here. Our Sunday gatherings are a balm for the soul, a place to be comforted and inspired, to open up to divine love and inner guidance, a place for clarity and aha moments. Connection with your soul, with spirit within you, is the most powerful way through all of life's ups and downs. And I'm so grateful that you're here today. As we begin, I want to say thank you to all of those who've given on our website this week. Although how we serve right now looks very different, we're more committed than ever to being your source of spiritual nourishment and community. Your donations support this vital work in the world, and thank you. And now it's time for our opening song. We've got a brand new video this week. Put together by Bev Matuszewski. I hope I said your name even somewhere closely correctly. And thank you so much for putting it together with videos submitted by our very own community members. So let's enjoy our opening song. Go back on. Excellent. This week, I've been pondering this question. How do you find your footing when everything's been uprooted? Yeah. Man, because so much is uprooted right now, and never before have most of us experienced such a large scale uprooting. Like usually it's like, individuals at a time, and so that then there's other people who can be there to ground, and yet we have this large scale uprooting right now, and I believe that calls for a large scale grounding. So today we're going to explore rooting ourselves in the soul so that we can bring our inner power to fruition in the outer world, so that we can still be here for ourselves and one another in powerful, inspiring, uplifting, important, heartfelt ways, even if we're all staying home right now. So I want to clarify by what I mean when I say soul. And this week, I took a little trip into the Living the Science of Mind by Dr. Ernest Holmes. And he wrote this: the Supreme Being is at the center of each one of us. To it, we may come for guidance, and from it, we may draw both inspiration and the power to live, stand, walk, or sit. Every act is an outcome of consciousness. Every movement is within the divine being. And since the divine being is everywhere, it must also be at the center of our own life. It is not only the center of our own life, it is that center. Hence, to think of it as the very essence of our being is clear thinking. To know that its being is our being is right knowing. And to declare that its life is our life is to permit its power to flow through us. That was on page 114 in Living the Science of Mind. And so when I speak of the soul, I am speaking of the divine being within you. It is the universal, individualized as you. And it is your personal access to the infinite intelligence that is God, Spirit, the divine, the universe, whatever word you use to describe that divine presence. And so your soul is the infinite essence of you. It is your essential self. And today I am here to remind you that your soul knows how you can find your footing. It can lead you through any challenge, even this one, and it has the power you need to live your authentic purpose. And that's right. Even during a global pandemic, you have a unique and divine purpose. In fact, maybe it's especially in a global pandemic, you have a unique and divine purpose. In the yoga tradition of India, this unique and divine purpose is called your Dharma. And this month's book of the month teaches us how to discover and live your Dharma. It's called The Great Work of Your Life by Stephen Cope. And in it, he walks us through the Bhagavad Gita, which is a 2,000-year-old treatise on yoga and the world's greatest scripture on Dharma. And it is the story of how Krishna taught Arjuna to embrace his sacred vocation. And it shows us how to make our everyday lives and challenges the arena for spiritual development. And Stephen Cope says that the Bhagavad Gita is a series of surprising principles for living an optimal life and for transforming skillful action into spiritual practice. Yes, please. I would like some of that. And so we meet Arjuna when he is in between a rock and a hard place. His sacred duty is to be a warrior and to fight on the side of right in a just war. But he is stuck in a war between two sides of his own family. So if he fulfills his sacred duty, then he will be slaughtering some of his own people. What should he do? He has no idea. And so he's actually sitting on the sidelines of this war in his chariot and not sure what to do. He has a conversation with his charioteer, Krishna, who we learn later is actually God. So the Gita captures this conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. And by the end of it, Arjuna's doubt is dispelled. And that's what we come to find out is actually Arjuna's central affliction is doubt. He's immobilized by it. And so he is choosing to do nothing. But Stephen Cope tells us that the path of inaction is actually full of action and also the consequences of action. Thankfully, Krishna will show Arjuna a path to the authentic self through action in the world. Isn't that beautiful? Krishna teaches us there is a certain kind of action that leads to freedom and fulfillment, a certain kind of action that is always aligned with our true nature, and this is the action that is motivated by Dharma. And in the Gita, he outlines the whole process using the 4 pillars of Dharma. So the 4 pillars of Dharma are 1, look to your Dharma. 2, do it full out. 3, let go of the fruits. And 4, turn it over to God. So Stephen Cope tells us that this first step is discern name, and then embrace your own Dharma. Second, knowing your Dharma, do it with every fiber of your being. Third, success and failure in the eyes of the world are not your concern. Fourth, all true vocation arises in the stream of love that flows between the individual soul and the divine soul. All true Dharma is a movement of the soul back to its ground. All true Dharma is a movement of the soul back to its ground. This is why we're diving into this right now, because we're uprooted and we need to come back to that ground. And so today we're going to delve a little bit deeper into the first pillar, which is look to your Dharma. And over the next 3 Sundays, we will explore the next 3 pillars of Dharma. So the first pillar, discerning your Dharma, or your purpose, or your sacred vocation. That's what I mean when I talk about Dharma. Stephen Cope tells us, the discernment of Dharma is only born out of our wrestling matches with doubt, with conflict, and with despair. But thankfully, he also says that everyone's Dharma is like an internal fingerprint. It is the subtle interior blueprint of a soul. Oh, thank God. I feel a bit more relief when I think about that, because I don't know about you, but doubt, conflict, and despair, that gives me anxiety. So I am even more relieved when I realize that the Bhagavad Gita lays out 3 important principles to discern your Dharma. So these are the 3 principles that we will cover today. Trust in your gift is number 1. Number 2 is think of the small as large. And number 3, listen for the call of the times. So we're going to go over each one of these. So this first one, trust in the gift. This is number 1. Just like each one of us has our own personal and unique Dharma, we also have our own unique set of gifts that we've been given in order to live out our Dharma. So simply due to time constraints, I can't share with you all of the gems of wisdom in the great work of your life. But I want you to know that at this point in the book, Stephen Cope shares stories of people to demonstrate these principles. So if you appreciate storytelling as a way to learn, you will love this book. And I highly recommend that you pick up a copy. I've purchased an electronic version that I read on my iPad. I must admit, I really miss the paper. And I like to underline and make notes in the margins, but I am making do with my electronic version of the book. It is so juicy. So even though I'm not going to share with you all of the stories, he and just so that you know, he shares stories of like really famous people that you have already heard of and that you know, but he also shares stories of everyday people. And so there's a drawing upon both that I felt a real personal connection, and I could relate to the stories he was telling. So I think you might find it a really useful resource. Okay, so I'm not going to share all the stories, but I am going to share some important concepts with you. And essentially, you have gifts inside of you to discover and to put to good use. These gifts are like the core of your being. They're indestructible, and no matter how far away you get from these gifts or how disconnected you get from them, they can't ever be lost. They are always with you. and they can never be destroyed or eliminated. So while they're always with you, you also have a responsibility to the gifts that you've been given. So the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas says, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. Ooh, that is intense. Okay. But so even if out of your own self-preservation, bringing forth your gifts is a good idea. And if you want more clarity around what are the gifts that you have specifically, then here's a good question you can spend some time with this week. This question comes from Stephen Cope. I looked him up on podcasts, and I found an interview he did, and I listened to him talk about these concepts. And here's a very valuable question he gave for exploring your gifts. He asks, what at the end of your life, if left undone, would you feel a sense of self-betrayal? Whoa, that question gives me chills, because he's asking you about being loyal to yourself, right? If you didn't do this, then you would feel a sense of self-betrayal, betraying yourself. You would feel letting yourself down. It's not about meeting other people's expectations or solving problems or what have you. It's literally, you will feel a sense of self-betrayal. I thought that was a really powerful question to spend some time with. And it might help you get very clear very quickly too. And I have some more questions for you today, and we'll go through them. There's one for each principle here. And the second principle is to think of the small as large. Okay, what does this mean? Essentially, it's a problem of size, which is grandiosity and devaluing. Two sides of the same size coin, grandiosity and devaluing. So Stephen Cope tells us that this problem of size is unrealistic thinking about possibility. And he encourages us to embrace the magic of ordinary living. So in this section, he tells the story of Henry David Thoreau, who had a dream of being a great writer. He followed the traditional steps of success, and he went to New York, where he failed miserably. It was very painful, very hard for him. He went back home with his tail between his legs. He built a small cabin on his family's property, and then it was there that he wrote some of his greatest work. So I'm quoting from the book here. In New York, Thoreau was reaching too high. He had an idea of greatness, but it became a rigidly held concept that disconnected him from his true greatness, which was both smaller and larger than he thought. Both smaller and larger than he thought. It was almost like he had to get smaller to find his greatness. It's brilliant. Okay, so if you want more clarity around the size of the gift in you, then spend some time this week exploring what gives you energy, what delights you, and how might you nurture it. And remember that it's the little things that are important and vital in this step. Think little. Okay. The third principle of discerning your Dharma is to listen for the call of the times. Listen for the call of the times. So Stephen Cope tells us that when we bring forth what is within us, it not only saves us, but it saves others. And he says, in order to ignite the full ardency of Dharma, the gift must be put in the service of the times. So you've been born at this particular time, in this particular place, with this particular Dharma, and these very specific gifts. You see how that all fits together? It all fits together. And it's all connected. So your greatest expression of your purpose meets the needs of the times. So this means that your Dharma can actually shift and change over time. And it can evolve depending on what's happening around you. So this requires you to hold your Dharma lightly and to stay present to that still small voice within you that is guiding you along your way. And if you want more clarity around the context of the gift in you, then spend some time this week thinking about what is it that you want to heal or create in the world? Is there an injustice that you see that really makes you angry or really lights a fire of passion within you that you can't imagine that that's happening? Or maybe it literally hurts for you to see that happening in the world. So maybe there's something missing in the world that, you know, if we're there, it would also alleviate pain and suffering in the world. So this is about extending out, looking out in the world and seeing what touches you, specific to you. And Stephen Cope says, Dharma is born mysteriously out of the intersection between the gift and the times. Dharma is a response to the urgent, though often hidden, need of the moment. Each of us feels some aspect of the world suffering acutely. It tears at our hearts. Others don't see it or don't care, but we feel it, and we must pay attention. We must act. This little corner of the world is ours to transform. This little corner of the world is ours to save. While everything might be uprooted right now, I remember that when plants have outgrown their pots, they're uprooted and replanted in a new place that supports their growth and expansion. So may each one of us know, embrace, and live our Dharma, bringing the inner power of the soul into outer fruition of our individual fulfillment and our collective health and well-being. Yes, we might be uprooted, but we're also being replanted into new possibility and into a new and renewed sense of purpose. I know that you're answering. You are answered prayer. And I am so grateful to be on this journey with you. And so it is. Anchor what we've been talking about today in consciousness. So I invite you to turn within, to close your eyes, to let that space of the soul come forward into your consciousness, into your awareness. This is the place where the truth of the one life comes into experience, into vibrational experience in this physical plane. And I remember that in the one life, that there is one creative power that expands through this one mind. I know it to be the source of all life everywhere. And it is naturally expanding and expressing, bringing to life more and more each day. And I know that this is on purpose, that it is in love, and that it naturally happens, just like seeds naturally take root, grow, and blossom. And so I remember this day that I am an expression of this one life, that this divine life is my life. This one power is my power. And as I embrace, accept, and know this oneness of myself with the divine, the words I speak are infused with this divine power. And it is from this place that I claim and know that each one listening right now is an absolute, beautiful, perfect expression of life itself. And I recognize that there is divine purpose at the heart of each one. And so what I claim of this week is a great clarity of mind and heart, that each one knows the gifts that have been given and that there is a great opening to receive the gifts. I know that this Dharma in each one is alive and well, that it speaks clearly and lovingly and kindly to each one. And I'm so grateful for any and all awareness, felt sense of this Dharma, of this presence of love that is guiding each one to the highest and best expression of the soul. And so I take a moment to be grateful for the wholeness, for the health, for the love that is present here right now. And I give thanks to know that spirit, God itself, is right where each one is. And so I speak a word of strength and comfort for each and every one that is currently on the front lines in the global pandemic, knowing that this strength of clarity, love, and Dharma is with each one. Each precious life is guided and guarded by this divine life. And so I recognize that this week is filled with clarity, with peace, with comfort, and with great joy. And so I feel the relief. I feel the relief of any anxiety and fear simply melts away, knowing that every human experience is held by the very heart of God, the divine. I let my word be active and alive in this moment, releasing it into the very law of mind, knowing it is absolutely done. I let it be, and so it is. Taking a deep breath, opening the eyes and getting grounded again in this moment. Yes. Now is time for our sacred giving. Knowing that there is an infinite flow of abundance, we open to immerse ourselves in this flow by giving consciously. As we give to where our souls are fed, we know that it is returned, multiplied abundantly. And so we gratefully accept and receive your gifts and tithes and offerings this day. You can give online at our website at csl-whiterock.com. It's simple, safe, secure. You can do a one-time gift or set up reoccurring donation, and all gifts of all sizes are gratefully appreciated and received with love and gratitude. Thank you. Your contributions make an important difference for us, and I know that they support your prosperity as well. Thank you. And now I'd like to invite Nancy Lee, our treasurer, to give us a report and let us know how we're doing financially. Nancy.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Because we've not yet had our annual general meeting, I just want to give a quick update on 2019. We certainly finished the year in the black. And in fact, we're able to add about $7,000 to our bank account. So that was awesome. And I can certainly go into more details when we do have our AGM. And as to when we hold that, we're kind of waiting to see what happens with the quarantine and when the restrictions are lifted, because legally we have all year to hold our AGM. So once we know a little bit more, we'll make a decision about whether to do it on Zoom or wait until we can actually meet in person. So ending 2019 in the black meant that our revenue was enough to pay our expenses each month. And this has remained the case in the first quarter of 2020. And then as April was the first month when we were totally online and not passing the basket, I can report good news. We brought in $2,700. Now our fixed monthly costs each month are approximately $2,500, so we did fine there. However, that fixed cost does not include rent. So when we go back to Sunnyside Hall, our rent there is about $1,000 a month. So just something to keep in mind. We would like to improve our monthly income, and we'll see how we do over the coming months. I can report that in the last couple of months, we had 15 people go on our website and click on recurring payment and become a committed giver. And I really appreciate this because it means less work for me as treasurer, because everything is so automated now. Everything goes directly into our accounting software. So that's really great. It also helps us for budgeting purpose. So a big thank you to everybody who signed up. That's great. So bottom line, we are in very good financial shape in terms of money in the bank and the money coming in each month to pay the bills. But, you know, we're not really growing. And it would be great to be able to give Cassandra a raise later this year, as she currently receives about she receives $1,500 a month plus 10% of our net profit. So it would be good to increase our tithing as well and be able to support other charities and give more to CSL head office. So if you have any questions about finances or committed giving, feel free to email me at admin@cslwhiterock.com. And please know that we're very grateful for all your donations, no matter the size. So on behalf of your board, I say thank you, thank you, thank you. And we just really appreciate everything that you have done to support us while we're going through this time of online services. So thank you. Muting myself.
Thank you so much, Nancy. I appreciate your service and your report today. And so I wanted to let everybody know about some ways in which you can continue to connect and grow together right now. So every Tuesday, we are having our practitioner, Jill Ingalls, is leading a group meditation on Zoom. That's at 9:30 a.m. on Tuesdays. There's space there for you to check in, have an inspirational reading, and have a group meditation that does include silence. It's a very nurturing space. Every Thursday right now, practitioner Tamara Rossander is going live on Facebook with a guided meditation. That's on Thursdays at 3:30 p.m. So you can join her live, or you can watch those recordings on our YouTube channel or on our website. It's a great way to get some support as needed, especially in the middle of the night. If you can't sleep, you can turn on one of those meditations to help you rest. Alrighty, I wanted to also let you know that this week we are starting my brand new workshop series called Creating Through Change. It starts this Wednesday and/or Thursday. We're offering it in the morning and in the evening. And we're beginning our course exploring emotional health, because your emotional health is your spiritual health. And I'm teaching the skills and tools that build the foundation for you to clear that inner space so that you can tune in to your Dharma and then set about creating what you want to create. We've also got an online forum that's already up and running, so people who've registered are able to connect and get to know one another, share resources, and just be together. It's such a beautiful thing. I'm so excited. And it's only $25 for each module, or $125 for all 6. There are still 2 bursaries available. If finances are stopping you from taking this class, please do email Nancy at admin@csl-whiterock.com, letting us know why you'd like to take the course. And we will let you know right away if you're able to get one of our bursaries for this course. You would pay $25 and you would be able to take the whole 6 modules. So you can register, you can learn more and register on our website for the course. I hope you will join us. Thank you so much for being here today. I just am sending so many blessings on your week. Let's enjoy our closing song. And we're going to, if you want to put it